revealing the lie so that you can see the truth. And I have to tell you, I'm about to give you another sad story, and an example of black people setting up generations after generations after generations of black people to suffer in one of the greatest country on this side of heaven. And the point is, there's no reason for black people to be this way if they, and not all, but most. I need to throw that in there, but most. But I've been saying for the last 27 years that black people, this includes parents, school teachers, principals, and not all, and then the black politicians, the black preachers, the Democratic Party, the liberal media, have been lying to their own people, generation after generations after generation. I remember like last year or the year before, you had the so-called black knockout games happening, where they were going around the country knocking out white people, robbing them, raping them, killing them in some cases. And no one said anything. It wasn't a big deal. And it was young black people doing it. Now some more young people are being set up to do the same thing. And this is black people problem. It has nothing to do with racism, but the hatred of black people toward white people. Most black people hate white people, the Christians and the non-Christian blacks alike. Here's a perfect example. This is from Truth Revolt. Pee Wee football team kneels for National Anthem. So there's this Pee Wee football team. When it was time to stand and respect the National Anthem, they kneeled. An entire team of black boys, age 8 and under, 8 years old and under, in Belleville, Illinois, kneeled during the Star Spangled Banner because black people are getting killed and nobody's going to jail. This is mind-blowing, folks. These boys knew about the acquittal of a former St. Louis officer, Jason Stockley, and the killing of Anthony Lamar Smith. So let me remind you, Anthony Lamar Smith was a drug dealer, period. A drug dealer. And even if this cop was wrong, he was not wrong, but if he had been, he killed a drug dealer, a black man who was, by way of drugs, killing other black people. And instead of telling black young people and other blacks, don't worship this man. He was a drug dealer who was out on parole, selling more drugs. The cops catch him. He rammed his car into the police car, took off, had a gun in the car. Now he's dead. And they're blaming the cop rather than the drug dealer. So these young boys knew about that, but yet the coaches, according to this report, and their parents, rather than promoting the cops, they promote the drug dealer. Every one of the parents, all of them. They also knew about ex-49er football player Colin Kaepernick, who is a weak, pathetic, poor excuse of a human being, Colin Kaepernick, that is. And I'm so glad he's not playing football anymore. Thank God that the teams would not hire him. Colin Kaepernick said, I am not going to stand up for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. Okay, so this man was playing football, making buku money, and he's oppressed? He's dating some Muslim woman out of New York who hate everything that's good, and most people are saying that they believe that Colin is being influenced by her.
Well, do you see an issue with an 8-year-old tackle football player kneeling during our country's national anthem? It happened yesterday with a team from Cahokia. I caught up with the coach to find out the story, and it's a story all new for you tonight at 5:30. All 25 8U Cahokia Quaterback Club football members took a knee during the playing of the National Anthem. It happened in Belleville at Little Devils Field. Coach Orlando Gooden did a phone interview with me today to explain why.
One of the kids asked me, did I see them protesting and rioting in St. Louis? And I said, yes. I said, do you know why they're doing it?
Coach says his player responded, because black people are getting killed and nobody's going to jail.
I felt like it was a good teaching moment for me to circle the team up and have a brief meeting.
Gooden, who played football at Mizzou, says the kids knew about the Jason Stockley not guilty decision, so he spoke to them about that and other situations in our country. Then he explained why former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick started kneeling during the anthem.
One of the kids asked, can we do that? Those are his words. And I said, as long as we know why we're doing it, I don't have a problem with kneeling.
Amazing. This is the coach. They weren't kneeling for the death of anywhere between 1,200 to 1,800 black aborted baby every day. They were not kneeling for the black-on-black violence and killing and crime in Chicago. They were not kneeling because this president is going to send back the illegal aliens so that they can have jobs and a better community and education. They are kneeling for a drug dealer, and the coach is encouraging it. This coach said the parents were fine with it. The coach cited his First Amendment. This is not racism. This is evil coming from black people toward white folks. So here's the last soundbite from this Pee Wee football team out of Illinois, where the black coach allowed an entire team of 8 years old and under boys kneel for a drug dealer. When I was growing up, this was unheard of. If my grandparents had caught me kneeling for a drug dealer who was killed by a cop, they would beat me all the way to jail somewhere. And now black people are calling good evil and evil good. Here is the coach. He was asked about the parents. Were the parents fine with these boys kneeling during the National Anthem or the Star Spangled Banner? And the coach like, yeah. Oh, by the way, the coach said it was a teachable moment. The coach did not teach them the right thing because the coach is evil too. Instead of telling these boys there's no way you're going to kneel for a drug dealer, you're going to stand up and show respect to your country, be grateful that your little butts are out here playing football. He told them, oh, whatever, yeah. Blacks are being killed. Not by blacks. He didn't mention that. What a shame. Here's the final soundbite.
When the anthem started, the Cahokia third graders immediately took a knee where they were standing. Their backs were away from the flag, but not on purpose, according to Gooden.
What I teach my kids is love, integrity, honesty, fairness.
He's lying.
The respectability of boundaries.
I spoke to residents today, like Dominic Edwards, who says he doesn't see an issue with the team kneeling as long as all the parents agree. And that's what was important to Gooden.
As long as I have the support of my parents and my team, I'm perfectly fine. I'm covered under the First Amendment to peacefully protest and assemble.
And Coach Orlando Gooden also told me today that he doesn't see a reason to continue having his team kneel. They did it once. It was for the players, and they also learned a lesson.
Amazing, huh, folks? White people, this is why black people are suffering. It has nothing to do with racism. There's no such thing as racism. It's a lack of moral character. From generation to generation, they're teaching hatred. And this is hate at its worst. Can you imagine teaching that to the children and then blaming it on white people? In Chicago, up to 75% of murders results with no arrest. 75% of murders result with no arrest. meaning that those on-black murderers are not going to jail. And they kneeling for a drug dealer. Mike, out of San Antonio, Texas, I wonder what you think about this.
Brutal honesty, black people know where they are. They're at the bottom, and they know they're at the bottom because of themselves. So they're looking for a reason to have the moral high ground. That's why they keep going back to the civil rights when they were actually mistreated some. So if they can find a way that they were actually mistreated, no matter who it is, they're going to gravitate towards that because nobody wants to be looked at as a total loser. And right now, most people look at black people like that, including themselves.
Yeah, I've said that the only purpose of black people in America today and around the world is to promote evil. Whenever other evil people want to promote something that's wrong, they pull in the black people to help get it done. And the black people, not all but most, they do it, all in the name of Jesus. They claim to be Christians, and they still go along with that, because they're not children of God. And it's just mind-blowing. I'm looking at this coach teaching a whole team of 8-year-old football players, little kids, to support a drug dealer.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, and of course, most of those kids is raised by a single parent, mom. Her thing is she wants them. That's her meal ticket, her lottery, if they can make it to the NFL. So she don't care. That's her lottery ticket if one of those kids actually succeed. So
it's mind blowing, Mike. It is absolutely mind blowing.